Hi, my name is Alejandro Parada, and I'm going to explain the sixth point of the midterm topic B 2019-1. Explain and graph what happens only in the short run at individual and aggregate level of industry in the pencil market that is in equilibrium over the long run and suddenly the consumer's income drops. Assume that it's a perfectly competitive market and the pencils are inferior goods. Well, here we have the pencil market. Because the pencils are inferior goods, once the consumer's income drops, there is an increase in the demand, making the pencils more affordable substitute. Therefore, an increase in the demand shifts the demand curve to the right, like this, affecting the equilibrium, which causes the equilibrium price to rise. Well, this is the firm. This is the marginal cost curve. We have average total cost curve and finally average variable cost curve. And we know that the marginal cost curve is the company supplies curve. And also, when a firm makes part in a perfectly competitive market, it means it's a price taker. This figure shows a firm in short-run equilibrium when the price equals the marginal cost, so the firm is maximizing profit, and also equals average total cost. Now, here we have the total income curve. In a perfectly competitive market, the total income is always a straight line. Therefore, the price is the slope of this straight line. Also, the total cost curve. We can see that the total income equals total cost, so profit is zero. When the price increase occurs, the new price is above average total cost, like this, so the firm has showroom positive profits. Again, here we have the total income curve and the total cost curve. We can see in the first figure that there are positive profits. This is because the firm has a new total income that is bigger than the total cost. So there are positive profits. Finally, an example of inferior goods, as in the previous case, will be when a family's income decreases. As a result, the family couldn't eat meat because it's expensive, so they will start to eat more grains, such as beans. And that is all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello, my name is Nicolas Abella and I'm going to be solving point 1 of my group's exam step by step.
So the point says, the linear demand curve for watches of a given brand indicates that at a price of 50,000, 100 watches would be demanded. It also indicates that at a price of 30,000, 300 watches would be demanded. The linear offer of this watch brand indicates that at a price of 30,000, 100 watches would be offered. Additionally, it indicates that at a price of 50,000, the offered quantity would be 200. Being in the equilibrium situation, the government introduces a tax of 10,000 per watch. What is the effectively traded amount of watches with tax? So we're going to be focusing on the fact that they're saying that this is a linear demand curve, and they give us 2 points. Point 1 says that 100 watches will be demanded at a price of 50,000, and point 2 says that 300 watches will be demanded at a price of 30,000. I labeled both of them as initial price here and final price. So we know that linear equations can be given in the form of y equals mx plus b, y being the dependent variable, m the slope, x the independent variable, and b the y-axis cut. So in order to find the inverse demand equation, we're going to be changing those variables to the ones we're using. So it's price and quantity. And having those 2 points will allow us to find the slope of the curve. The slope is equal to y final minus y initial over x final minus x initial, which we can translate to final price minus initial price over final quantity minus initial quantity. We replace those values. We know that the final price is 30,000. Have it right here. and the initial price is 50,000. We have it right here, and we have the final quantity is 300, and the initial quantity is 100. We operate. We know that 30,000 minus 50,000 is negative 20,000, and 300 minus 100 is 200. We can rule out these 4 zeros, and we know that the slope of the equation is minus 100. Having a slope allows us to find this constant, which is the point at which the demand linear equation crosses with the y-axis. So we now have that the price is equals to negative 100 times Q plus B. To find B, we'll have to replace price and quantity for one of the points we already have. I'm going to replace it by the initial point, so I'm going to have the price is 50,000 in the initial point, is equal to negative 100 times 100 plus B. We know that 100 times 100 is 10,000. It's negative plus B. And this side is still the same. We can add 10,000 to this side and to the other side, and we'll have that B is equal to 60,000. And so we'll have our inverse demand equation, which is that price will be given by negative 100 times the quantity plus 60,000. So it will be very important for finding the equilibrium of the market. So after finding the inverse demand equation, we're going to be doing the same process with the supply equation. It's important to note that it says that it's a linear one as well, and so we only need 2 points. Point 1 says that 100 watches are offered by firms if the price is of 30,000, and it also says that the quantity of watches offered by the firms is 200 if the price is 50,000. I labeled both of those points as point 1 and point 2 right here, or initial point and final point. So we have that this is the inverse supply equation given by price equals slope times quantity plus B. We're also going to be able to find slope easily because we have 2 points of the supply equation, and I already have the formula in terms of price and quantity. So we're just going to replace and make the math. After we do the math, we have the inverse supply equation slope is 200, and knowing the slope will allow us to find the y-axis cut, which is B. So now we know that price is equal to 200 times the quantity plus B. And in order to find B, we'll be replacing price and quantity for one of the points we have. I'll be using point 1, and so I know that the point 1 price is 30,000 and the quantity is 100. And we'll proceed to do the math. We'll proceed to clear for B, and we'll find that B is equal to 10,000. Now that we have B, we have the inverse supply equation, which is price is equal to 200 times the quantity plus 10,000. The supply equation will allow us to find the market equilibrium. So after finding the supply and the demand equation, we're going to be searching for the market equilibrium. The market equilibrium is that point at which both the supply and the demand are the same. And so we know that we can replace this for the equation we found and this for the other equation we found, the demand and supply equations. And we're going to be searching for that quantity of equilibrium. The quantity of equilibrium is this is minus 10 at both sides. We can add 100Q here and add 100Q here. Rule out this, and this will give us that 300Q is equal to 50,000. We can divide both sides by 300. Rule out some zeros, and we'll end up having the quantity of equilibrium is 500 over 3. So we have this as an initial equilibrium without taking into account the tax. And finally, we're going to be finding the new market equilibrium. The new market equilibrium will be given by the point at which the new demand equation meets with the supply equation. So we know that the new demand equation will be of the price plus a tax that the consumers are going to be paying. And fortunately, we know that the tax is of $10,000, and we can subtract those 10,000 from both sides and have the new demand equation, which is negative 100Q plus 50,000. And we're going to be searching for that point at which the new demand equation meets the supply equation. So we have that negative 100Q plus 50,000 is equal to 200Q plus 10,000. We can subtract 10,000 from both sides and add 100Q for both sides as well. We'll have that 40,000 equals 300Q. We can divide both sides by 300, and we'll have that the new quantity of equilibrium is 400 over 3, and this will be the effectively amount of watches traded, taking into account these tax. So we know that the answer for this question is A, 400 over 3. We can translate this tax concept into multiple real-life examples, such as what here in Colombia called the healthy taxes. Healthy taxes' purpose is to decrease the consumption of certain harmful products, and a clear example of this can be the taxes on cigarettes, which purpose is to decrease the quantity consumed by the population and the negative effects that they have in people.